Whether you're negotiating your salary or giving a presentation amongst colleagues and managers, there's an added pressure when taking on these tasks as a female. Karen Laus is the author of Trust Your Own Voice, Growing Your Influence Through Confident Communication, and she's the host of the podcast, Ignite Your Confidence, and she's on a mission to eradicate self-doubt for women in the boardroom and beyond. Welcome, Karen.
Thank you.
Yeah, we're excited to have you on. I've had the pleasure of meeting you beforehand at an event geared towards helping women and building up that confidence. So tell us, how did you get in your field? What inspired you?
Yes, well, many women are missing opportunities because we don't speak up. And for too long, that was my story. Even though I was being flown all over the world, companies like Google, Facebook, and NASA. And yet I found myself one day in a boardroom in front of my peers, and I was tongue-tied. And I thought, what is going on? And my boss actually had to shut down the meeting, pulled me aside after, and she said, Karen, once again, you didn't trust your gut. And I was so embarrassed about the whole thing, but it really pivoted me, because I said at that moment, I said, I'm never going to let myself do this again. And I went to town with my own growth. And now the experience of being free from self-doubt, I mean, let's face it, I'm human. I'm still going to have some doubt, but to not be so encumbered by the doubt and the worry about what other people think of me and all those things, to hold back.
Yeah.
I'm done holding back.
Yeah.
It's all about speaking out.
And I think what you said is something what a lot of women can relate to, being ready to say something, give a presentation, but kind of freezing up, clamming up when you're in that moment.
Yes.
So you're here to help us with that. What can a woman do to be taken more seriously?
One of the first things, first of all, is to literally speak up.
Yeah.
To use your voice. And one of those ways is to start with projecting from your diaphragm here. And for anybody that might be listening that has any musical experience or vocal training, you know that powerful muscle there. Because too often when we are speaking from up here, then we sound like we're not really supported.
Yeah.
So now when I'm speaking from here, you can hear the difference. So that's one thing. And then also speaking with conviction. So many women, as you know, speak with upspeak, which is that slang term for ending a statement with a question mark or a comma. And a lot of people do this when they say their name, which astonishes me. So it might sound like this. Let me give you two options.
Okay.
One would be, hi, I'm Karen Laus. I'm originally from Minneapolis, but now I live in San Francisco. Versus, hi, I'm Karen Laus. I'm originally from Minneapolis, but now I live in San Francisco.
That conviction in the second one.
Isn't it amazing? What I find fascinating about our voice is that it is the most nuanced thing that we have as far as how we come across in our behaviors. And nonverbals are critical too, with posture, making sure that you expand your gestures and don't make yourself smaller. So it's that combination of that as well as the voice. And that can set us off to a path of power right away.
Yeah. I had a professor in college tell me the same thing about that upturn in the voice. She told me I did that, and she's like, you need to speak with more conviction and not end it with a question mark. So it's good to have those helpful tools as you're navigating your way in the career force. What is the biggest thing getting in the way of a woman's credibility?
Well, part of it is what we talked about related to your voice. But I would say from the internal aspect, it's all about the doubt that we have. And we have to own it. And I know that's so much easier said than done. So one exercise that I recommend for women is, and it could be for any gender, frankly, but ask 5 people that you know and trust for 5 positive qualities that they see in you. And that is a beautiful way to learn what other people see of you in a more objective way. And that can be a start to recognize your strengths and then align with those more so that you can walk in and really have that powerful feeling of, I own this, I'm confident. And sometimes, honestly, it's affirmations as well. So it's a little bit of both.
How do you share your opinion without being pushy when you're trying to give it?
Oh, yes. This is one of my favorites because this is one that I taught myself because I don't know how much you know about people from Minnesota, but that's where I'm originally from. And it's very much about, you want to make sure that you're nice to everybody. So the point here that I want to make is that you speak with that strength. And once you do that, it's going to make all of the difference. And so coming in with that power and that strength, say the words, here's my vote. And the reason why this is so powerful is that it's diplomatic as well as being direct. And this was something that I started doing myself because I had a hard time when I was first starting, because my boss used to say, you always come to meetings and you say, what do you all think? She goes, I want to know what you think. And that was one of those jaw-dropping moments of, how do I share my opinion without being rude and all of that?
Yeah.
And so here's my vote is a great way to do it.
Okay, that's perfect. And what words should we avoid and what should we say instead?
Ooh. Two of the words that I would recommend avoiding, and by the way, you can get this on my website for free, 9 words to avoid and what to say instead. But the two that I will share that are my favorites to avoid, especially in context, is just and little. For example, let's say I said to you, Desiree, I just want to share a little tip with you. Now, that might sound fine, but the power is so different when I say, I want to share a tip with you. First of all, it's much more succinct. And a lot of times what happens when we say little and just is we actually make ourselves smaller. Like, it's almost like that. Could I ask a question? Yeah. Please pick me. I'm not worth it, but I hope I'm not bothering you.
I just want to see if you're okay to hear this.
Totally.
Yeah.
Yes. And being able to speak without these words that get in the way. So in the case of those two, you eliminate them completely.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay,
Absolutely.
I got to lose the just and the little, because like you said, we're all human, so we're using this in our everyday conversation.
Right.
So just being more conscious of it.
Exactly. Yeah. And it's being aware also of the filler words too. Things like and ah are pretty common, and we're all very aware of those. But how about little words that we don't think about, like actually, literally, basically, words that are real words in the English language, and yet the thing is, when we use them repetitively, they take away from our credibility.
Yes, that was a big one. When I heard you last speak, you mentioned using the phrase literally and how we use it so often, which is something I'm very guilty of. So being more conscious of those words that we need to try to better avoid.
Yeah, and I would say too, we've got to have grace on ourselves, because let's face it, women are also so concerned about, I have to be perfect and I can't make a mistake. And I think about the 80-20 rule. Focus on it 80% of the time. If you do it 80% of the time, you're fine. I mean, it would be great to get to 100%, but as long as you're eliminating a few of those filler words, that's going to help a lot.
Yeah, we're getting that growth. What's your best negotiating advice?
Ooh, know what you want and then ask for it directly. And an example of this recently was interviewing 10 candidates for a potential assistant role. 8 out of those 10 women could not say what their rate was when asked. This was a business friend of mine. She said, I couldn't believe it. 8 of those, and they were women. None of them were able to say what their rate. Well, whatever you want to pay me. Thinking, what? No, know what you want. And sometimes it's hard to figure out what that is, but there's a lot of resources available to help. And then ask for it directly. Too often what people say are things like, well, Desiree, if you're interested, let me know. And then we walk away. As opposed to, hey, Desiree, can we have a conversation about that? Would you like to learn more? Can we talk? Something where you actually give them an opportunity to answer the question directly. Because if you make it an indirect ask and it's passive, then you're probably not going to get what you want.
Yeah, and it ties into knowing your worth and knowing your value. So
yeah,
it's important to highlight that. Yeah. What matters more, what we say or how we say it?
Ooh, it's a combo, but let's talk about this study. Albert Mehrabian wrote a book called Silent Messages, and he determined at the time of the study, and it continues to get replicated today, that there are 3 things that are always present when we talk to someone. One is how you sound with your voice. One is what people see of you. And then the other one is the message itself. And most people think the message carries the most weight. And yet it's the visual that overrides everything else. So visual ends up being 55%, vocal 38%, and verbal, meaning the message itself, only 7%. But now it is important to say what this doesn't mean. It doesn't mean that only 7% of what we say matters. These numbers mean that if there's an inconsistent message, so if I came to your show today and I said, Desiree, I'm really excited about being here. I mean, you would say,
right,
what?
Like, come on,
What's
Karen.
going on?
Yeah.
So it doesn't match. So when things are mismatched, then that's what people remember. And that's where we spend most of our time is preparing for that message. But we've got to remember it's how we come across as well. And especially for women, having that powerful voice is critical.
All right, we got to have that powerful voice. Karen, thank you so much for joining us this morning.
You're so welcome. Great to see you again.
Yes, you as well. And for more information, you can go to KarenLaus.com.